Why did carnivorous dinosaurs walk on two legs? Why do humans walk on two legs? And why do animals have different numbers of legs? Let's find out. It was once believed that walking on two legs allowed carnivorous dinosaurs to use their hands for catching prey. However, many herbivorous dinosaurs, like the ornithopods, also walked on two legs. Some bipedal dinosaurs, such as T-Rex, had small arms. Carnotaurus sastrae had very tiny arms, so this wasn't the main reason for their bipedalism. While some dinosaurs developed hands with long fingers or claws to grasp prey, like Deinonychus, or to grab branches and fruits, like therizinosaurs, this was merely an additional benefit of walking on two legs. So why did they walk on two legs? Let's look at modern lizards for clues. Most lizards cannot run and breathe at the same time because they don't have a diaphragm. They use their chest muscles to inhale and exhale. Running interferes with this process as sideways flexing of their bodies expands one lung and compresses the other, shunting stale air from lung to lung instead of expelling it completely to make room for fresh air. This forces the lizard to stop to breathe after a short burst of running. To overcome this limitation, some modern lizards run on their hind legs, allowing them to run and breathe simultaneously. It's likely that this also explains why early dinosaurs used their hind legs for walking and running. Birds don't have diaphragms, so we can assume that dinosaurs, being the ancestors of birds, didn't have diaphragms either. Early dinosaurs were small in size with a large tail relative to their body, which helped them use their legs for walking and fast running. The large tail provided balance, and dinosaurs had strong and powerful muscles between the tail and thigh that increased the thrust from the hind legs, making them highly efficient at running. The ability to run and breathe at the same time gave them an advantage over their prey, which helped them grow larger. Additional advantages contributed to retaining bipedalism in carnivorous dinosaurs and some herbivorous ones, such as a better view of prey and predators, the ability to wade into deeper water for fish, and the ability to reach up higher to snag fruit from trees. However, most herbivorous dinosaurs transitioned to walking on four legs. They had large, heavy stomachs to digest large quantities of plants, and some had long necks to reach the tops of trees, adding extra weight which made walking on four legs more necessary. Additionally, some herbivorous dinosaurs had heavy armor for self-defense, causing them to walk on all fours to support the extra weight and provide stability while moving. Four-legged reptiles emerged long before dinosaurs, evolving from ancient lobe-finned fish with four sturdy fins. Over time, these fins gradually transformed into limbs, providing early reptiles with the stability to support their weight and lift their elongated bodies off the ground. Mammals evolved later, retaining the four-legged body plan of their ancestors. Early mammals had tails that were smaller and lighter than those of reptiles, and the muscles connecting the tail to the thighs were also reduced. As a result, their tails could no longer provide the necessary balance or strong propulsion needed for effective bipedal movement. Additionally, mammals developed a breathing mechanism involving a diaphragm, which, in addition to their way of running, allowed them to breathe efficiently while running on all fours. This adaptation helped maintain quadrupedal locomotion as the default mode for most mammals. Kangaroos, jerboas, and frogs primarily use their hind legs for locomotion. Kangaroos evolved from opossum-like creatures that once lived in trees. As trees became more scattered, these animals moved onto the ground, where they needed to migrate in search of food and water during the dry season. Hopping became their best choice. It enabled them to move fast to evade predators while using minimal energy. Kangaroos have long, elastic tendons in their back legs. These tendons stretch when they land, storing elastic potential energy, which then helps power the next jump with minimal muscle effort. When a kangaroo walks, it uses its tail as a fifth leg. Leopelma is a primitive frog. When it jumps, it lands on its belly, suggesting that early frogs evolved jumping mainly as a way to move quickly from land to water. Hopping allows jerboas to evade predators quickly and unpredictably in the open desert. It's also an energy-efficient way to cover large distances when food and water are spread out. Additionally, hopping minimizes their contact with the scorching desert floor, helping them avoid overheating. Humans evolved from mammals that climbed trees and walked on all fours when on the ground. They shifted from walking on all fours to walking on two legs around 5 million years ago. Here's the most likely scenario of how that shift occurred. Human ancestors stood on 2 feet to reach fruits on trees, whether they were standing on the ground or on a tree branch. They also stood to hold tree branches above their heads to balance themselves while navigating thinner branches. Fossils of early hominins show that their bodies were adapted to both walking on 2 legs and climbing trees. With the shrinking of forested areas, human ancestors were forced out into the savanna. The upright posture allowed them to peer over tall grasses for predators or in search of prey. With this transition, food became more scattered. They had to cover long distances to find and transport it. Walking on 2 legs freed their hands, enabling them to carry more food each time. Males carried food for their wives and babies, while females carried the babies and cared for them. Humans walking on 2 legs use less energy than chimpanzees walking on all 4s. Conservation of energy, alongside the obvious benefit of freeing the hands to make tools, played an important role in reinforcing and refining bipedalism in humans. Snakes evolved from lizard-like ancestors that possessed legs. These legs gradually reduced over millions of years and eventually disappeared. This was an adaptation to a burrowing lifestyle. Early snakes that lived underground or in tight spaces found that legs became an obstacle rather than an advantage. A streamlined, elongated body without limbs allowed these early snakes to move more efficiently through narrow tunnels and dense vegetation, minimizing resistance and energy expenditure. In water, snakes could swim without legs with greater ease, using their elongated bodies to undulate through water with minimal drag. They climb trees efficiently. Some of them glide through air from one branch to another, and one species can reach a speed of 18 miles per hour on the ground. Moreover, the lack of legs has given snakes a stealthy, predatory advantage. It enabled them to hunt and capture prey in confined spaces where legs would have been a hindrance. It enabled them to move silently and strike quickly. Insects evolved from many-legged ancestors. So why didn't the number of legs reduce further than 6? Insects are small creatures encased in a rigid exoskeleton. They walk by lifting the 2 outer legs on one side and the middle on the other side, sweeping them forward and placing them down together. Hence, insects support their bodies with a tripod at all times. Larger animals can get by with fewer legs because their balance systems have more time to adjust during movement. But because insects are so small, their quick strides mean their nervous systems might not be fast enough to control their gait. Instead, insects rely on the tripod gait to maintain balance rather than constantly adjusting their movements. Additionally, their exoskeletons limit the small body movements needed to balance. In contrast, larger animals like mammals continuously make tiny adjustments in their gait to stay balanced, something insects can't do as easily due to their rigid exoskeleton. Arachnids, such as scorpions, spiders, and ticks, have 8 legs. Scorpions have relatively large claws and a long, curved tail. Having 8 legs distributes their weight and helps them move quickly. In spiders and ticks, having 8 legs serves additional purposes besides locomotion. When a spider ensnares its prey, it uses its hind legs to draw silk from the spinnerets to the insect. 4 other legs are employed to wrap the insect, while the remaining 2 legs anchor the spider to the web. Some spiders raise their front legs as a warning signal, and in certain species, males lift a pair of legs in a courtship dance to impress the female. In ticks, the front 2 legs have what's called a hauler's organ. The tick usually climbs vegetation and extends its front legs and waves them in the air to detect hosts by sensing odors, carbon dioxide, humidity, and temperature. Crabs also use 8 legs for walking. They are classified as 10-legged because the pincers are considered modified legs. They walk sideways with around 4 legs touching the ground at any given moment. This gives them more balance considering their wide, flat, and compact bodies. Although crabs sometimes walk forward and backward, their legs have more range of motion when moving sideways, making it their most efficient mode of locomotion. In some crabs that live mostly in water, the hind legs have evolved into paddles for swimming. A snail can be thought of as having a single large foot. It moves by gliding along its muscular foot through succeeding waves of muscular contraction that move from its tail to its head. It produces mucus to reduce friction and to protect its foot from sharp objects and rough terrain. It didn't need multiple legs since there was no need to move quickly. Here is why. It mainly eats plants, so there's no need to chase anything. It's most active at night, which makes it less likely to be seen by predators. It reproduces rapidly, compensating for any losses within its population. The same applies to slugs. Legs first appeared in early arthropods around 520 million years ago during the Cambrian period. These legs were not highly specialized, so many of them were needed for each animal. Some animals, like the horseshoe crab with 10 legs and the isopod with 14 legs, still have resemblance to that body plan of having many legs. These legs are suitable for crawling, and there were not enough evolutionary pressures to further reduce their number. Centipedes can have anywhere from 15 to 177 pairs of legs, and common millipedes have between 17 to 200 pairs of legs. Their long bodies with many segments need many points of support along them, so they have many legs to help them crawl. The species with the highest number of legs is Eumillipes persephone, which has 1,306 legs. These legs help it with burrowing. The force of many legs, a flexible body, and an extensible trunk with compressible unfused rings help it squeeze through narrow crevices underground. Hope you enjoyed the journey, and see you next time.